The sun dipped low over the canals of Venice, painting the water in hues of amber and rose. The Piazza San Marco buzzed with merchants hawking silks, spices, and glassware in a symphony of accents. Into this vibrant scene trudged four weary travelers. Willem, a burly Dutch merchant with a furrowed brow. Claude, a French winemaker with a sun-weathered face. Hans, a meticulous German clockmaker. And Luca, a boisterous Italian sailor. Their boots were worn, their faces flushed with exhaustion. A Venetian woman in a lace shawl noticed their plight.
"The saints bless wanderers,"
she said, pressing a silver florin into Willem's palm. The men bowed in thanks, but as she vanished into the crowd, their camaraderie dissolved. Willem thumped the coin onto a stone ledge.
"We buy drivin'. Plump Dutch drivin' will revive us."
Claude scoffed.
Raisin is what we need. Ripe, noble raisin.
Hans adjusted his spectacles.
Nein, Trauben. Sweet Rhineland Trauben.
Luca threw up his hands.
Only uva! Juicy Sicilian uva!
Their voices crescendoed, fists waved, and curses flew in four tongues. A crowd of gondoliers and fishmongers jeered at the chaos. Just as Willem lunged at Luca, a serene voice interrupted.
Basta, let reason prevail.
The speaker was Matteo, a silver-bearded scholar in a velvet doublet. He'd studied philosophy in Padua and spoke the languages of Europe as fluently as Latin. After listening to each man's tirade, Matteo chuckled.
Madmen, you argue over the same fruit.
He gestured to a vendor's cart, overflowing with glistening purple grapes. The travelers froze, their anger melting into baffled silence. Matteo bought 4 clusters with the florin and passed them around. As the men bit into the sweet fruit, Luca grinned.
We fought like roosters over a word.
Claude sighed.
Words are vines. They tangle us.
That evening, the 4 gathered around a hearty meal at a trattoria, sharing stories and laughter with Matteo. By dawn, they'd pledged to sail together, their rivalry drowned in the Adriatic breeze. You know, at the heart of this story, there's something really powerful. It's inspired by Rumi, and it teaches us how sometimes pride in things like language and culture can make us lose sight of what's truly important. Think about those 4 travelers. They all wanted the same thing, grapes, but they ended up fighting just because they called them by different names. And then Matteo, the scholar, steps in and shows us how a bit of wisdom and patience can help people come together. Instead of focusing on their differences, he gets them to focus on what they share. That's the kind of mindset we all need. This theme of tribalism versus unity really hits home, doesn't it? The traveler's argument feels like a reflection of the kinds of clashes we see today, whether it's about politics, religion, or nationality. Most of the time, if you look deeper, you'll see we're actually arguing over the same thing, just using different words. Matteo, in this story, reminds me of the kind of people who act as mediators in real life. You know, the teachers, diplomats, or even just friends who help us move past our biases and see the bigger picture. And then there's humility. It's so hard to admit we're wrong sometimes, right? But it's such an important step toward growth, understanding, and building connections with others. It's like the key that unlocks the door to real progress. What's cool about this story is how relevant it feels to the world we live in today. Think about all the arguments you see on social media, or even in real life. People going back and forth without really listening to each other. This tale reminds us to take a step back, to listen first and argue later. Because honestly, how often are we really disagreeing? Sometimes it's just that we're expressing the same ideas differently. And here's the big takeaway. Europe's rivers all flow into the same sea. A grape, whether you call it druven, raisin, trauben, raisin, is still sweet. So let's focus on enjoying the fruit instead of fighting over its name. And before you go, don't forget to check out my other videos. I've got plenty more tales to spark your imagination and curiosity. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. I'd also love to hear your thoughts about this story. What did it make you think about? Was there a part that stood out to you? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.